Thinking about that, Maria, because the first day of school is just days away from many districts in our area.
And of course, that means that there will be more traffic and buses back out on the road and kids walking and biking to class too. Kristen Allen joins us from Green Bay this morning to tell us what police are doing to keep everyone safe.
Here in Green Bay, police will have extra patrols out in school zones like this one here behind me near Washington Middle School. They'll be pulling over any cars who are going above the speed limit or who are not stopping for kids in crosswalks. It's up to the officer whether to give a warning or a citation. Police will be making sure that drivers are stopping for kids in crosswalks. You are required to stop once a pedestrian has stepped into the crosswalk. They'll also make sure that cars are slowing down. The speed limit in school zones will decrease when school is back in session from 25 miles per hour to 15. And police want to make sure that people realize that and are following the posted speed limits. Officers are urging you to do your part to keep students safe.
As you're coming through the school zones, make sure you're paying attention, limit the distractions within your car, put your cell phone down, slow down and pay attention.
Police will have increased patrols both in the mornings as kids are starting school and then again in the afternoons as class is done for the day. They'll be doing this throughout the month of September. They're also making sure that you're on the lookout for school buses as well, which will now be back out on the roads. It is illegal to try to go around a bus that has its stop sign out and flashing lights on. You should stay 20 feet back and wait for the bus to continue driving again before you do as well. Reporting in Green Bay, Kristen Allen, Action 2 News.
Kristen,
I always
thanks.
loved biking to school.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the fall, so nice out. But you got to watch out for those kiddos out there. So make
Yeah.
sure you're slowing down on the roads. Great advice.
And sometimes, they're going down the road and all of a sudden they cut across the road, because they're kids and,
Yeah.
they don't have a blinker on their bike. So you just got to be expecting the unexpected sometimes.
Absolutely, very important.
And